Put your head on my shoulder. Hold me in your arms.
My first question is, how'd you get started in the industry?
After I graduated college with a degree in engineering, I got a job that was with a company called, it was a consulting firm, and they moved me out to LA to do consulting work, which I didn't really do. With consulting, you can kind of work from home and not be on a project, but still get paid salary. So I kind of worked the system by not getting put on a project. And I was doing auditions and got myself an agent and did acting classes. So I was doing all these things except for work, except getting paid for working at Accenture. So it was actually really great. I got laid off a year later, which was awesome and part of the whole plan. And I had severance and unemployment. And then a couple months later, I booked 3 national commercials, and that's how I got started.
Hold me in your arms.
What led you to directing?
So about 8 years ago, I started on Awkward Black Girl, and I was around Issa Rae and the rest of the ABG crew, and we were all very self-sufficient, and Issa was paying for ABG out of her own pocket, and a lot of the cast and crew were writing and doing their own thing. So I really ramped up my writing and concentrated on writing more. And then as I think a couple years later, I decided to direct a couple music videos because I'm also a songwriter. And I directed my own music videos, and that was really fun. And then I was like, oh, I feel like I want to do a narrative. So then in 2017, I had a short film called Cowboy and Indian that I wrote, directed, produced, and starred in. And that was my first narrative that I directed and had a great time. And then leading me to 2020 when I wrote, produced, directed, and starred in my first feature film, Definition Please.
Hold me in your arms.
So, have you faced any challenges being a female director in the industry?
I understood pretty quickly that just first-time directors in general, people aren't going to trust you with a ton of money, a huge budget. So I knew that I trusted myself. So I decided to direct my own projects, which is what I've done so far. And it's worked out really well because I feel that with my personal budgets, I'm more apt to allow myself to make mistakes and learn from them. And I don't feel like I'm letting other people down because I'm like, well, that was my fault, so it's okay. And so it's been a good learning curve as well, so that in the future, when people do maybe decide to hire me for other directing projects, I will have learned on my own.
Hold me in your arms.
Did you self-finance this feature film?
Not the whole thing. Since it's a feature, it was a lot more expensive than my short, which I did self-finance. I was the first money into my feature, which I had sold a couple shows, so I used that money to put into my feature. And then once you have a little bit of money into a project, it's a lot easier to get other investors on board because they see that, oh, you've got skin in the game too, so you're not trying to lose your own money, which is exactly right. And they're more apt to put their money into the project.
Hold me in your arms.
Can you tell us about your directorial debut experience?
I mean, it's been amazing. We shot this film last summer, and it was really, really, it went really well. All I will say is that definitely always be prepared. Be over-prepared for everything. Never go into anything not exactly knowing what's supposed to happen. And so I was doing storyboards. I was having movie dates with my DP, Brooks Ludwig, to make sure that he knew what look I was going for. And we decided on handheld cinematography. And so we watched a lot of handheld films. And then when we went back to my hometown to shoot, we were there for a month beforehand to lock down locations and, you know, really set in the cast. and I had dress rehearsals with my cast and readings, and I had some children in my cast as well. So I wanted to get to know them before we got on set. So I was doing that. And so when you get to set, you're never going to be prepared for everything. So it's great to be over prepared, because when something does happen that's out of the ordinary, for example, we lost the location the night before we were supposed to shoot at a bar, and I was acting and directing in a scene when I got the text from my producer, Cameron Fife, and then in between takes, I was running out of the room to, try to lock down another bar location. And I did it without kind of letting the cast and crew know that there was a very emergency situation going down. So I think when you're over prepared, you're better equipped at handling any emergency that comes at you, because you're like, okay, well, these are the things that are in place. So with the thing that has kind of gotten out of place, it's easier to fix.
Hold me in your arms.
What was the number one thing that got you to where you're at today?
I guess I always believed in myself. I never doubted myself. I've been here and I've seen friends come and go in terms of living in Los Angeles and kind of quitting, trying, and then quitting. But for me, I was always in it for the long haul. So it wasn't like I was out here and I thought that I would get one role and that would be it. And then I'd be, I don't know, Angelina Jolie or something. For me, it's more about enjoying every little piece of the journey, even if it's rejections, because we go through rejections, I don't know, as an actor, like 5 times a week, generally. And so for me, it's about learning from those rejections and taking those into the next audition or the next job, and believing in your writing, believing in your work, and understanding that for me, I've never seen stuff that I'm doing out on TV or in the movies. So I want to create characters and roles that the next generation can look up to.
Hold me in your arms.
And do you have any last words or advice to filmmakers?
I think my words would just be to create, especially we're all stuck in quarantine right now. We're all stuck at home. Some of us are stuck at home with our parents and our grandparents, and some of my favorite content that I've seen coming out of this is really funny stuff with grandparents and parents. So I just feel like there's no excuse to not create anymore, because we've all got video cameras in our pockets and we can make funny sketches or dance videos. Or the thing is, like, David Lynch is making short films and putting them up on YouTube. So what's your excuse? I generally allow myself to be imperfect, to know that I'm going to make mistakes, to learn from those mistakes, and I know that I have the confidence when I start something that I will finish it. So I have a finished film, which is exciting, and a movie that I'm very happy with, and I kind of used that cowboy and Indian experience as a practice. To use a short film as a practice for your feature films is actually a really good idea as well.
Hold me in